to all of my BPTV friends, YouTube friends, Facebook friends. I'm Alan Levine, the Talking Machine. I'm honored and blessed to be doing my 74th The Talking Machine show. I have another great guest. Will you please introduce yourself?
I am the lyrical gangster, Matt Antonucci.
And the reason I have him here is I met him years ago because Smoking Jim Frazier and I on Pittsburgh Sportsline do boxing. This, and I know plenty of ring announcers, no disrespect to anybody,
None.
This is one of the best in Western Pennsylvania, in my opinion. And I wanted to get him on years ago, and we had COVID interrupt some of this. We just met a little while ago again, and I said, I'm booking you.
Well, and it's an honor to be here. I'll thank you. Years in the making, honestly.
Yeah.
And
you wanted to be on, and I respect that.
And now I also heard you're in the MMA game.
Yeah, we had a
intrigues me considerably because there's one thing missing from the Al Levine shows. And that's the guy you see on your four-sided screen.
Well, there we go. But we got to get into about you. Enough about me. We can talk later and see what we can do mutually. Where were you born?
Born in Oakmont, Pennsylvania.
I know the area.
The son of Dr. Mark and Tina Antonucci.
Okay.
Still together, years rocking.
Nice.
My dad was a dentist for many, many years in Penn Hills and Verona area.
Wow, then he's well known.
Preceding my grandfather before him, Phil Antonucci, who was also a dentist in the Penn Hills area.
What a family tradition.
My mom comes from Farrell, Pennsylvania, right there near Youngstown.
My dad refereed basketball games there in the 60s and 70s.
The Farrell Steelers.
Yeah.
And my mom went to Kennedy Catholic,
Wow.
which is the Catholic school within
the
area.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right up against Youngstown. So, huge boxing fans were my uncles on my mom's side. And
so you come from a sports family, like
yes,
I do.
and football was the primary sport on my dad's side because my grandfather was friends with former Cleveland Browns coach Nick Scorch.
Nice.
That was one of his closest friends.
I've heard the name, yes.
And, so my dad was intimately close with that program. So were my uncles on his side. They'd go to the training camps and all the things like that.
Well, we're similar with mine being on the basketball side, like I talked to you about.
And then I had a introduction to, the Penn Hills program through my dad and growing up and stuff like that.
Did you grow up in Penn Hills? Or?
I did, but I went to Riverview. I grew up in
That's where I wanted to
grew up
find.
in, that Penn Hills, Verona area. But
I
I
know
went to
the area.
Riverview.
My first cousin, had a home and family on Rodi Road.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody
right
knows
up the ways
Rodi
from
Road.
us,
Yeah, that's why I share that, because anybody in the area knows Rodi Road.
I graduated Riverview in 2005.
Okay. What did you do in high school? Did you like school or not? Or
it was the place I had to be.
I got it.
But I took
Good answer.
I took on football and wrestling, and I like to say as aggressively as humanly possible. And so you've seen me as a ring announcer.
Yes, I have.
Take that tenacity, take that intensity, and strap shoulder pads to it and a helmet sometimes if I needed it.
Yeah, you have good descriptive words for how you are in the ring, and I would say aggressive, concise, and clear, and very boisterous at times.
And I think that is one thing throughout the years that I think everybody is this work in progress, right? No one's going to ever produce.
I'm trying to get better every day.
Exactly. And I think that was the number one thing for me, was to do way more with much less.
Well, then let's digress a bit. So now you're in high school. Everybody thinks about it. You come from a dental family. Was that even a thought?
No.
Okay, so what were you? No, we won't go into it. What were you thinking then?
I knew that my future came beyond the yellow brick road, if you will.
I like Wizard of Oz, yes. Oh, since we got yellow, shout out to Lyrical Gangster
Oh, absolutely.
Shirts.
Jaden Rucker is my graphic designer. He did the first shirts as well. These are the new Lakers-inspired Lyrical Gangster t-shirts. They come in the Laker gold, the purple, or the Christmas Day black, Al.
If we get any new fans, where can they purchase
You
them?
can find the link right on my Facebook page. You can always send me a DM. I'm very, very
Well, then
accessible.
spell your name out. I grew with all Italians.
Antonucci.
Okay.
Antonucci.
We got that covered. I had to get a little promo
Oh,
in
thank you
because you're
very
my
much.
man.
Jaden Rucker, by the way, he is a fantastic graphic designer. He absolutely killed
And your
these
first
shirts. Killed the
shirts were
first
great.
shirts too. I'm very, very appreciative of him.
Thanks for wearing it because we got so much to put out there. It's your 15th anniversary of doing
This past week.
and we got to talk about what you were doing in high school to get to this
I was
point.
going to say, yes. So
That's
it
why
was
I can
really
cover a
close
little
in
bit.
between because I graduated 2005.
Okay.
My first show with American Hardcore MMA is 2009.
How'd you do that?
So what happened was Bob Young, who was he was a new promoter, and he was a guy who grew up in the area. He was a little older than my brother.
Okay.
And he wanted to put on a show, and the first thing I said to him, and thank God for Bob Young, because without Bob Young, there would be no Lyrical Gangster.
Well, then this is great. Carry on.
And
I love it.
I said, all I know is that I have to be involved in this somehow.
That's what you said.
And he said, well, the only way I can get you involved is as the ring announcer. So if
That's
you
what he.
record into this recording so I could send it to the other guys that I'm doing the show with. So I do it. And
Have you always been outgoing?
oh, absolutely.
Okay, just
I
checking.
mean, I had done the Riverview, the Raider TV. I called basketball games in high school.
so you were actually into this.
I thought, yeah. So around my senior
and you liked
year,
it because you're passionate.
that's where it became the shift to where I want to go beyond the yellow brick road. Like I said.
Yeah. It's a good thing.
So
With the yellow shirt, too.
yeah, absolutely. Why not? And so I tell Bob that I have to be involved. He gets me in, and I do the first show, and I realize that I may have swerved off to a wrong path, possibly right away, and it's meeting the Ohio Athletic Commissioner, Bernie Kosar, I believe is his last name. And this guy, when they tell you larger than life,
Well, he was a Cleveland Brown.
yes.
That's why I'm trying to fill in the blank for people that don't know.
But just this guy,
even though we don't like Cleveland, there are good people there.
and that's when, and they're explaining to me how the pageantry of it all works.
The inner workings of it.
So, and then I learn that the nerves of it all will all collapse right down on you if you let it. And after the first fight that I did, I walked out of that cage, and I remember feeling this house is burning down moment. Maybe.
Yeah.
Like, did I pick the wrong thing? Am I doing the right thing here?
And what am I doing in here, right?
And that led to a few more shows after that. But then,
Well, what did you do the rest of that night? You said after the first fight.
I thought I did
What
a great
happened
job.
next?
I thought I did a great job. I think I played, but it was the worst case of imposter syndrome I think any one person has ever had. That was how I felt driving home. I'm like, what in the heck was I doing there?
Well, here's what I've told others, and you've heard it. Fake it till you make it.
Right.
And that's what you were doing there, brother.
And I held on tight for a few more years. Then around 2011, late 2011, I moved to Los Angeles.
Why? Why did you do that?
For the same reason everyone else does, Al. To get that scent of celebrity, to get that feel
Hollywood. You want the Hollywood stuff.
that you made it, you know? And
you're this guy from Oakmont, Penn Hills, and
that's what I said. I said,
let's go.
They always told me that in New York is where if you made it here, you made it anywhere.
Yeah.
And I said, well, for what I want to do,
L.A.
The City of Angels is my stop. That's where I felt that I needed to be. And
what an inspiration. I believe in God, that he guides us in our lives.
Couldn't agree with you more.
And we don't know the timing.
Just divine intervention for a lot of
No,
just
I could feel
different
that.
things that were going on in my life and going on with my family and things of that
Can
nature.
you get into any of that, or do you want to?
And I think, honestly, what it was is, my brother was struggling with his demons.
Yeah.
And
you loved your brother, so yeah, that
he was my older brother by 5 years.
Wow.
And I am turning 39 on November the 27th. So this
happy pre-birthday.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're looking strong at 39.
Oh, thank you.
My hair was dark like yours, and mustache too.
Like
so
I said, I'm
there.
counting more and more grays in my hair anymore. So.
Well, here's what I say, so you'll calm down. This means we have more wisdom.
Yes, that is the one thing I have found along the way is wisdom.
Well, I figured I could inspire you, and I'm glad. Go ahead.
I mean, but talk about one thing leading to another. So my time in Los Angeles was short in the means of what most people accomplish in time there. It takes a lot of years. But
how long was it then? So we have a point of
I
reference.
was there for a little over 2.5 years full time. But I went back a few more times in between for short stints.
And what were you doing? What were you doing so they can understand?
I wanted to be the next Howard Stern. I had made my decision that I had overcome my nerves of having a microphone in front of me.
Sure.
And I had overcome... I felt that there was nothing else. Even after 3 years, silly enough, I've been doing it 15.
Yeah.
Knock on the wood for hopefully for 15 more. But I felt that I had accomplished everything I needed to accomplish as a ring announcer.
Sure.
And my time to shine was in what at the time was the breaking through of internet terrestrial radio, now known as Sirius XM or whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
So that was just breaking through at the time.
Yeah.
Regular terrestrial radio was fading out. Howard had just left for Sirius around this time.
Exactly, I remember.
He had just purchased the company, and that was only a few months later. So the transition was happening, and I wanted to be on board, and I kind of feel like...
You just felt like you had to do it.
I felt like it was my time because there was going to be so many openings.
This is so cool. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
With all these internet stations that Sirius was announcing that they're going to open up, well, they're going to need somebody.
You can go worldwide instead of from
they're
L.A.
They're going to need somebody to spin the records or do something, right?
Yeah.
So now they are slowly how many 15 years later, are now starting to plug VJs into these music stations because they didn't before. It was kind of only Howard and maybe a few here and there. But now the stations, and I actually was looking to work with one of those groups.
Really?
That Channel 315. They're called Whole Lotta Red Hot.
Okay.
And I was always just the biggest Red Hot Chili Peppers fan. So
Get out.
I think now that I established a name, I thought maybe I could sneak my way in there, but...
well, Lyrical Gangster, it's hard not to remember that.
God's got other plans for me, Al.
Okay.
That's the most I know.
We'll get into
right
that.
now.
Yeah, so now you came back.
So now I've come back, and I came back...
and where'd you go to live?
To take my first job at WKKX, AM 1600 in Wheeling, West Virginia.
Wow, that's just an hour away from
Bob
here.
Fitzsimmons.
Wow.
He was the first guy to really take a chance on me. Excuse me.
Sure.
And more or less, I get my opportunity to work there. I eventually become the host of their fifth quarter scoreboard show, they called it.
Wow, that's big.
And they were really big into the high school football.
Most areas are, Look at our areas, Penn Hills, Bethel Park.
I mean, I was introduced to Steubenville Big Red and how big of a deal they were.
Yeah.
The second I moved there.
Yeah.
And
so
then
now you're living in West Virginia.
Yes, and I then about a little under a year being on the air there, I, the whole thing kind of in my head anyway, came to a complete stop because my older brother had passed away.
Wow. That had to be terrible. How old was he?
He was 30, excuse me.
30 years old. Wow.
And in my head, everything had just come to a complete stop at that point.
Sure.
But about a year after kind of like playing this part-time thing at WKKX and driving back and forth from Oakmont to Wheeling.
Oh, you were doing
whether it
that.
be on the weekends or sometimes I do like a Wednesday to Sunday. And
wow. So you're transitioning between where you live and going there to work and
Yeah, but-
driving. You're putting all that time on the road. How'd that work out?
I kind of gotten used to it living in Los Angeles. That's
Oh,
was
okay.
part
So
of
your
my time there.
mentality was okay.
Part of my time there, both with the Academy of Radio and TV Broadcasting where I started,
Right.
and into my time at NBC, they excuse me, they had given me opportunities to take more on site. Like I was a writer's assistant with NBC, so
Okay.
I would have to do a lot of hands-on things, and stuff.
So you're interacting with the show and the people running the show.
Specifically, the showrunners.
I just
to be
wanted
a
to
middleman
clarify that.
To be a middleman between, quote, the office and the writers.
Well, say some parents have children like you, and say some young people watching you. That's why I want to get it out on what you were actually doing.
Sure. So, as a writer's assistant, it's like basically just like this entry level, but we know there are brass in the tax with this kid, but
I like that.
but we have to kind of do our due diligence first.
Yeah, you got to pay
and
the
then-
price.
But I felt that the main goal when I got to Los Angeles was to have my own show on the radio, and the outfit in Wheeling, I felt that was going to be
That
my best
provided that,
opportunity.
yeah.
My best opportunity, and plus be close to my family again.
Sure.
And whether that be the timing of that with my brother dying being apropos or not,
Yeah.
it's how it happened, and it molded me into the person that I have now become.
Do you have any
Good,
other?
bad, or indifferent.
Do you have any other siblings?
I have two sisters who are both absolute killers in their field. My oldest sister, Maria, Dr. Maria Antonucci,
Wow.
is a top resident at Children's Hospital. And my sister, Melanie, is working her way up the executive ladder with AE.
Wow.
She works her absolute tail off. Both brand new mothers.
Congrats to them and
Absolutely. Not
Uncle
brand
Lyric,
new.
Uncle
Francesca
Lyrical.
and Leo are two, 1 and 2
Well,
respectively.
give a shout out to them and your great parents.
Hi, Mom and Dad. Hi, Leo and Francesca, Melanie and Maria. I love you all very much. And they are all very much as part of me being me as I am.
Well, your journey with this. Look at the journey you've had from here to L.A. to Wheeling and
And
back
there was
again.
also some time I lived in Susanville, California.
Where's that?
Now, for those who one of the most notorious old federal prisons
No.
were out of Susanville, California. And the first thing that I was introduced to when I got there, now I worked at this KGXX country.
No.
Yes, the lyrical gangster was spinning country tunes for the Susanville folk. And
That's mind blowing.
my first place there, I had a Murphy bed.
No, I know them. Yeah.
So my first idea, if I was ever to write my memoirs, and I came up with this idea when I was in Miami for an Edward James interview that I had done.
Wow.
And I said, "Man, Matt, on the plane," I said, "You made it from the Murphy bed to Miami Beach, baby." And that was like,
South Beach Matt.
I took my talents to South Beach for one day. Yes.
Wow. That's
And
great.
I think, and how the rest of it kind of falls together is where this is the part where I have my interactions with you and Smoke and Joe.
Yeah.
So now we've gotten to the part where the talking machine meets the lyrical gangster. That's what the name of this chapter would be.
Yes, it is.
Quite literally, because I get an opportunity with the radio station. Steve Novotny hosts the show, and he has Jim Frio on.
Yeah.
Of Frio Auctions.
Jim's a great guy.
Absolutely. And
he's hired us over the years to do our broadcasts.
And with whichever direction life takes you, I'll never lose at least the respect for the opportunity that Jim gave me.
Yeah.
You'll never catch a time that I have to say a bad thing about him. It just won't happen.
No, he's a great guy.
And he was putting on a show with Travis the Terror Clark as his main event.
I've met him. I'm friends with him.
Taking on Keith Barr. Now, this was the first time I believe they met for the West Virginia State Heavyweight title. And I told Steve, because I didn't have the gall to walk up to Jim, because Jim, even though Jim is a short-statured man,
yes, he is,
also carries a larger-than-life persona.
Yeah, he does.
So I asked Steve to run interference and tell Jim.
I like this, yeah.
Say, tell Jim, hey, and by the way, hello to Steve Novotny. He was what a great guy he is. I feel
because
like
others are going to watch this.
He's a WKKX alum as well.
You'll get a link when this is edited by next week, and you can share it wherever you want.
Oh, fantastic!
Plus, with all our people that watch it on BPTV and Verizon 32 in the greater Pittsburgh area, so we have a large footprint.
Wow, you don't realize the reach until you're sitting down
and
here.
it's just me and you talking, so
that's how I've taken it for 21 minutes.
Yeah, well, we got 8 to go, so 7 minutes to go. So let's go.
To hammer this out, so Steve Novotny runs interference with Jim Frio, gets me an opportunity to come to one of his auctioneer warehouses.
Great auctioneer.
With the mic similar to this one, and he says, and I'm in this huge warehouse, and Jim just says, let's hear it. So I say, fighting out of Wheeling, West Virginia, weighing in at 271 pounds, this is Travis the Terror, and he cuts me off. He says, we're good. I'll see you Saturday. That was
like
it.
That.
I swear to God, now that was it. And
tell him again what you said. I want him to hear this. This kicked him off with boxing and everything else.
So he said, I just want to hear how you would do it. And I said, so I'm going to do Travis's.
Go ahead, do a good one.
And he said, so now how it would be is fighting out of Wheeling, West Virginia, by way of Belmont County, Ohio. He is the former West Virginia State Heavyweight Champion and a living legend. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Travis the Terror Clark.
Thank you.
Love you, Trav.
I wanted it out there.
It's there now.
Yeah.
It's there.
We got it.
And just like Macho Man said to Hulk Hogan, right in the rotoscope, brother. So here I am. And then I get the eye of who would eventually become the closest thing I have to family that's not my blood.
Yeah.
And that is Integrity Fighter Management.
Don't get me started. They're two of the best guys I know in
Without
boxing.
Mike McSorley and J.J. Richardson.
Yeah,
And
I salute them. I salute them.
I love those guys unconditionally with all my heart.
Look what they do for the fighters, the families, the friends, the fans, and young boxers. Look at their Ukrainian duo. Look what they've done here and the champs that they are.
How about Oleg, too? Let's start with him. And I love Lubomir, too. They're both great, great men. Hardworking, just personify the American dream in every which way.
Great fighters that fought hundreds of fights.
But what I think the greatest is for the both of them is the advancement in their English. Like when both those boys came off the airplane, they didn't know a lick of English. Oleg was doing color commentary on the pay-per-view 2 shows ago, 3 I think, was doing color commentary in English with the pay-per-view
Wait till you
commentary.
hear my story about them, both of them. I got to interrupt this a little. You know, I'm friends with Mike, you know, good time friends with all his boxers too. They love us, been on my shows when I was doing shows at different places. I wanted Ola and Lubomir on my show. And I go, can they speak English? He goes, yeah, they work and we'll schedule it. They came on my show. The first interview they got was from the Talking Machine.
That is so awesome.
And I go to Ola, because, you know, I kid around a little, and I go, do you understand me? He goes, yes. I go, well, I understand you. And then I was asking him more questions, and I go, how did you learn to speak English like this? You're right off, you know, came right now, you're here, first interview. He goes, from watching TV. And then I had Lubomir on the same thing.
Yeah, that was a joke in one of the Wayne's World movies. He said,
that's
how'd
why,
you learn to speak English? He goes, college and the Police Academy movies.
Right,
You know?
and that's why when they said TV, you got to love that.
Yeah.
And since then, I've been huge fans of them. They came here with nothing, and they're both champs.
Yeah, just what the two of them have been able to accomplish in, again, such a very short amount of time, too. Think of it that way as well. And that is kudos.
Well, hard work did it.
And that's kudos to Michael and JJ, too.
Well,
you know,
you have to have a team, and they came here because they wanted to be champions.
Oh, yeah.
And look what they've done.
Couldn't have been a better story, right?
Oh, it's a great story. I love it. We had to talk a little bit about it. Shout out to both of them, Mike and JJ.
And yeah, so Mike sees me in the crowd. He's working Travis's corner that night.
He's the best cut man in the business.
And the one that they know that they don't talk about, or at least they don't talk about enough.
I promote it every time I talk to people.
Absolutely. But the greatest cut man.
He'll stop blood out of an artery, no problem.
And I was lucky. I've been lucky enough to work one or two corners with him and be able to be.
You see what he does.
Yeah, it's just
How
it's
about
unbelievable.
the little bit about Mike? How about him speaking Russian when he got and Ukrainian?
Tom Dasta too.
Yeah,
Tom Dasta too.
I've talked to Tom. He's just a great
What a
man.
great guy.
Yeah.
You know, by the way, him and my grandfather, as well as Tom's brother, share a similarity. They are all Penn Hills Sports Hall of Famers. Salute.
Congrats.
Salute to those.
Yeah, good shout out there. Hey, we got 2 minutes to go. This has been amazing.
It has been.
We got all this in, where you're doing and what you're doing now.
Just so
Yeah,
Mike,
go close that up.
Mike sees me there and tells JJ in the infamous remark, "That's our guy." And Mike has told me the story many times, and
you told it to my fans here. Thank you.
so
and
the rest
me.
is rock and roll history. And now we're about 15 years into my relationship,
Right.
or a little over 10
Yeah.
in my relationship with Mike and JJ, and it couldn't be going any better.
And that's about when I met you 10 years ago, and I just heard you announcing fights at the Meadows.
Oh, what a great
That
venue
was
that
one
is.
of the best pro cards that I've seen, and I've seen hundreds of fights. To have a local fight card like that's amazing. But I want you to give a minute on inspiring others. That we're all interested in sports in Pittsburgh. We bleed black and gold. You succeeded at this, and you got more to do, and you will get better. And look at what you do. How do they even, or what do you think would inspire them?
Tunnel vision.
Okay. And persistence.
And understanding that hearing a no multiple times is okay. It's okay. And know that it only takes one to say yes, to kick
That's
down
your
that,
goal.
to kick
Get that
down
one
that door
yes.
you've been waiting to kick down. But then with one door closing, a new one always opens, and vice versa. So that's my advice to them, is just keep opening doors. Do not ever let one door not being able to be opened stop you from kicking it down.
Yes, and I always add this, because I practice this. Don't quit. Listen to Matt, the lyrical gangster. Thank you for being a great guest on my show.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you, and good luck in all you do in life and in business here, and it's great. To all of you, this was our 74th show. I got the 75th coming up with an opera singer on November 27th. Stay tuned.